Bonjour, bienvenue. Hello and welcome to my channel, Les Paysans. I'm your host, Dino. In today's episode, I will be tearing apart this air impact. You probably haven't torn one of these apart or even seen what the insides of one of these looks like, so this ought to be interesting. So, let's make like a monkey on a pogo stick and hop right to it. Step one with tearing apart this impact is you have to get a hex key and loosen up these bolts. I've loosened these up beforehand, so you just twist right out. There's also this screw that would have gone inside of that hole right there. Probably can't see it too well, the lighting's not fantastic in my space module. But you have to remove that screw. And this one was pretty nasty to take out. So you undo the rest of these. And now you just tore apart everything that pretty much holds this all together in one piece. So then you can just pull this plastic handle off, and then you kind of get to the guts of this impact. So the air flows up through the bottom. This is where your air hose would go into. Flows up along the inside of the handle and runs past this valve right here. Probably again can't see that too well, but there's a little rubber valve that when you push that, push that in, it opens up the air passageways, so then it can flow up through like a hole somewhere, either here or that hole right there. I haven't looked at any schematics, so I haven't really torn these impacts apart before, so this is quite intriguing and interesting. Also, you'll notice that this is the air exhaust port, so one way or another the air probably circulates around and then down through that exhaust port. So, because there's a little O-ring right here that kind of seals things up from on that intake. So then next, you can pull the front off, where at that point you have to undo. There were originally 3. I don't know where the third screw disappeared to, but there's supposed to be one. So you can pull that straight out. There's nothing really holding this together. This is the weights that spin around. But these screws are supposed to go right here, and right here. So you can just pull those out. But I'll get to that in a second. These are the impacting weights, and how you tear this apart is you just take that pin out and take this pin out. There's no loosening or tightening or anything with this. It's just you pull it apart, and then you can pull out this center shaft, and then the weights just fall right out. And they have these little kind of ears. I'm thinking as the impact is spinning around, it kind of like catches on one of those ears, and then that gives you. So the shaft runs into this bracket, and these weights then attach to the shaft. And then that allows that free spin, and then the added weight puts on momentum to help you break a nut loose. Because you need, it's a sudden impact of torque, so that would latch on like this and kind of pinch into that little ear and give you a little bit more force or torque to break that nut loose. Now on to, also this is the end housing. There's nothing really much to it. This one was quite wore out. This was used to remove tires mostly, and it would rub up against a center hub very often. There's also this aligning pin. It looks like there was a little needle point grease point at one point or another. I seriously doubt if it works or not. I seriously doubt it was ever greased through there either. Most people don't even notice that. So, now onto this. This is the air motor. Now you just take, like I was saying earlier, just take that out. Take that out. It's supposed to have another thing in there, but I don't. And then you can pull out this end plate. Now there's a little bearing inside of there, and it seems to be in good condition. Doesn't feel rough. Then you have these two ports. I believe they're supposed to, kind of blow these little veins out. Now I can actually pull this up, and then here's the trigger, and then the forward and reverse, and then you have 3 different speeds, which would regulate how fast the air is traveling through the air motor. And it has all these ports, for forward and reverse. And this is probably the exhaust port. That's what I'm thinking. And then these are the intake ports that the air would flow through. So here comes an intriguing part. There's nothing holding these little, I don't know what to call them, but I'll just call them fins. There's no springs. I don't believe there were ever springs inside of this, which in a hydraulic motor, it would have little springs. They kind of, wrong way, kind of push these out. But it looks like momentum or air pressure is supposed to hold these out and up against the edge of this housing. I find that quite intriguing. But yeah, these little fins, they just fall right out. There's nothing holding them in, and they have to have a very smooth surface. There's another bearing on the back side that you can press out. And again, a couple little ports, most likely to blow in from the back side of the inner rotor. I don't know what to call it. To push those fins out. Quite an intriguing design. I didn't think it would look like a vane type hydraulic motor, more or less. I thought it would look like a little turbo or something, and I was kind of hoping maybe I could slap a turbo onto my motorcycle or my generator or something with a small engine on it and reuse it like that. But it doesn't look like I can actually do that. Might be able to use it, use something similar to this, like a supercharger, but I'd have to figure out how that would work. So to give you a little idea of how it works. So the vanes kind of pop out, they rub up against this housing, and then when they get to the little ports, they release the this is probably okay. So the air probably goes inside here and pushes out until it gets to this exhaust port where the air wraps around and then goes down to the exhaust. You can reverse it so it can spin in either direction. So the air would go in through here and push these vanes out, or fins, push it out and causing it, expanding air until it gets to the exhaust port, which is over here. So quite interesting. You'd have to be, have lubricant inside of the air in order to keep these all lubricated. Otherwise, this will seize right up. The reason this is no longer in use was because it kept freezing up. Most likely, I'm suspecting, because when I'm turning this and then I put a little bit of tension on it, you get real stiff, and that probably kills some of that power that's supposed to have. So this impact stopped working. It was just blowing air and not doing anything. So that's what the inside of an impact looks like. Thank you for making it to the end of my video. I hope you found it interesting. To wrap everything up, please subscribe to my channel. The button's right down there, and your subscription makes a difference. So, with all that, au revoir, mes amis.